Hello and welcome to another edition of the 16-ounce canvas, the Art of Craft Beer podcast. My name is AJ Cairns. I'm your host here each and every week. As we do our part, introduce you to the artists and designers from around the world who help bring some of our favorite beers and breweries to life. So, first of all, try a new camera angle, see what you think. How's it look? How are we doing? But this week, episode 182, we're talking to our good friend, Mr. Matthew Ryan Sharp. We had the pleasure back in 2019, feels like moons ago, of getting to connect together in person. We went to Rheingeist Brewing. We were actually there with Robert Warwick, and previously in the day had a wonderful opportunity to meet Keith Neltner and really just kind of tie it all together. One of the joys is connecting with our artists and designers, and we've really been lucky for folks like Matt to become friends, and he's just an all-around good person. So it's a great episode. It's a little tough to listen to, I think. The story of Matthew and his family. Just about a year ago, they lost their home to a really random, unprecedented kind of fluke fire because of a lightning bolt strike to their home. And so, he and I have discussed in the past, but, just kind of reliving that and kind of, going through that. I want to thank him for sharing that with us. I know it was awful, horrific, terrible, insert other, extreme adjectives and descriptors, but it's just a wonderful opportunity. I think, as he's always said, his Midwest work ethic just shows that. I think that take a kick in the dick and you come back stronger, and I think that it's not easy, and it's not something that anyone could do, but I'm excited for what the future holds. I know that we'll get together in the future and celebrate that new home, that new ranch, that that new setup, because he's a one of a kind individual, and I'm lucky to call him a friend. And still, Arrowhead, I still need you to send me some of those beers that he's doing, but I love the work that he's doing. Hand drawn, original, true to himself, just a good person. And so I think that there's a speed bump or just kind of a rough case, bad scenario here, but he's just good people, and I know that he's gonna come out on the other side, and as you hear from the episode, we're already talking about that. So episode 182, it's not a prime number, so I do apologize, but it's a great episode with an old friend. We've got much more where that came from, so please, we've got some confirmations from some of our earliest guests, so it's really exciting to share that with you and just continue to move forward. You're listening to the 16-ounce canvas, the Art of Craft Beer podcast. My name is AJ. You can find us at 16OZ Canvas, so like 16 ounce 160Z 16OZ, not zero, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now YouTube. So we're getting it out there. We're having a lot more fun with the video section than we thought of. We figured out a few workarounds and loopholes that previously, weren't there. But hopefully you're doing safe. You're having, remember, as we say, you're closer to the end than we are the beginning. I know this week was really tough with a lot of snow in the Northeast. Folks were the snow was coming down. It felt like it was, just our heads were throbbing, and it was just a lot. And so I know that people had, plans for ways at least to even get away and just, drive, for a few hours, and the snow is kind of jacking things up. So please be safe. If you or anyone needs, just an ear, you want to join us on Clubhouse, whatever it is, please reach out. AJ at 16OZcanvas.com. So let's get into it. Episode 182, Matthew Ryan Sharp. I'm AJ Cairns. This is the 16-ounce canvas. We are the Art of Craft Beer podcast. Thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
once again, happy belated birthday. I know I got you, but making 40 look good.
Oh yeah. Trying at least. The fuck. Well, let me turn my phone off. These fucking
Yeah, come
people.
on, dude. Yeah, right.
Hey
Letting you do
man,
work.
where's my graphic design?
Hey, man, I've got this many bucks. Can you make me an entire branding operation?
Yeah, hey, I have 30 cents, a high five, and a six-pack of PBR. Can you brand my whole company?
Yeah, I put in my life savings into this company, but can you do it for exposure? No one's ever heard of me or anything I've done, but I'm
Yeah.
sure in 20 years they're gonna be like, wow, who made your logo? Here's a hot lead.
True. It's true.
So man, yeah, I just wanted to, you're one of the few I've been blessed. We got to, hang out in Cincy, and so it's kind of nice just to, we've got a nice little vibe going, and I value your friendship, and I know it's been a tough year. Fuck the pandemic, just like personally for you guys, and just wanted to,
Yeah.
see how you're doing, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been for kind of like for our family, it's been kind of like a rough 2 years with the kind of like the loss of our first dog.
Right.
Uh
Yeah, I think that's when we first. I think when we met, you kind of just he was
yeah.
either get sick or he just passed, and yeah.
Yeah, he had when we were up at Rheingeist, yeah, he had just passed like not that long ago, and I was still pretty fucked up. But yeah, man. And then, like kind of like almost a year after kind of I was still reeling, from that. Um, we had, our house got struck by lightning and fucking burned. It's like, it's not funny at all, but
No,
like,
but like it's crazy. I mean, the fact that like something like literally like 1 in a million, whatever it is, like not only to hit you, then like the destruction was massive.
yeah, it was, it hit they think it hit like the roof or the chimney or something around there. They couldn't really pinpoint exactly like where it they couldn't pinpoint exactly like where it hit. But when the next day, when there was like a specialist for the insurance company, he came out and he pulls up this radar and he was like, yeah, there were 500 lightning strikes within a 2 mile radius of your house, and the closest one was like 0.01 miles away. So they're like, yeah, that's the one that hit your house. But yeah, long story short, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, July 9th, lightning hit somewhere in the house, and yeah, kind of like lit the attic and the roof up. We were able to get, everybody was home at the time. So me, Jen, the baby, we all got out, grabbed the dogs. And I actually like ran back inside before like the shit really hit the fan. And I ran into like my closet because I had to grab like this box that had like Lunchbox's ashes and his like sweater and his favorite toy and like all this shit, where I was like, dude, if the house like goes and like I lose this stuff, like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just something I didn't really want to think about. So like I
Right.
ran back in, and then as I was like coming out, we had like it was an older house. It was built in the 80s, and it had an attic fan in the hallway right by like the main stairwell going up. So as I was coming out of the bedroom to go back down the stairs to go out of the house, like there's just like flames like shooting out of like the attic fan. And you just like, it was one of those things where you kind of like stop for a minute, and I was just kind of like, I was looking at it, because I'm like, dude,
Mhm.
you're looking at death in the face. And it had like this crazy like grumble, like this low. if you've ever if you've ever heard like a steel mill, like furnace, like that,
Right. Yeah.
it was like that. So I mean, it was crazy because you feel like you're staring like, the devil in the face.
So it was
And
what it was. So that vent was like, it was pushing from the top, and so it was trying to.
yeah. So the fire was kind of like above me, because we got the basement, the first floor, the second floor, and then the attic. And the fire was in the attic, and that's, ultimately that's where it was contained. So you think like, oh cool, like, it was contained in the attic and the roof, like you just have to replace that. But the downfall with that is, in order to put it out, they had to dump, like, I can't remember if it was 30 or 40,000 gallons of water, and all of that stuff just falls downward. So it was 20% fire damage, and then the other 80% was all water damage. So all of our shit was ruined by water. It wasn't ruined by fire.
Oh yeah, that makes kind of unfortunate sense, right? You can't just like, all right, it'll go out. You have to put it and pushes it and takes out everything with it.
Yeah. So it was that was crazy, man. It was crazy. And and then the craziest thing of all is, we had just moved. We had only been in that house for 4 months. It was kind of like it wasn't necessarily like our dream house, but it was on our dream piece of property. Kind of like, there's some rolling hills, there's a creek in the front, a creek in the back that you have to like drive over. It's on like 3.5 acres, like probably 1.5 acres of it behind the house is all like undeveloped woods, so you can kind of just go like explore. And it's very like we really liked it for like the idea of like the baby, like
Mm-hmm.
growing up on that property.
Yeah.
It's very sort of like whimsical and magical.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have too many neighbors around, and the ones that are around are spread out pretty far, so we can kind of just do our own thing, be left alone. There's no like HOA, so people are like, hey, you can't,
Right.
you can't have green spray paint on your garbage can, or fucking whatever. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool once we finally get back in. We're tentatively hoping for like May.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know that it's hard to say right now. Like, the exterior is like pretty close to being finished, but the interior's got a long way to go.
Yeah. Like, was it? Yeah. Was there any bullshit with like insurance and all that
Dude,
stuff?
we need another fucking podcast. Yeah, it's everybody who ever tells you, like, if you ever run into anybody who's ever like, oh, it's a fucking nightmare dealing with insurance, whether it's like a flood or it's a fucking nightmare, man. It's a fucking nightmare. You get a fraction of like what your shit's worth. So like, if you got like a painting and you're like, hey, I bought this from this person a year ago, it was $1,000. Here's the receipt. They're like, oh, okay, well, there's depreciation, so like, we'll give you $35. And it is, man. It's just, you literally, they will try and like downgrade your shit so much. Yeah, like, that could be like a whole like
Yeah.
like the 16-ounce podcast. It could be like the
The fucking
fucking insurance
scam.
yeah, insurance nightmare. And that's the thing, is we have great insurance too. Like, so we have like really, really good insurance. So imagine if you had like one of these fly-by-night companies that,
Right. Oh yeah. And then they don't tell you. It's like you hear nightmare stories all the time, right? They say, "What is it, Chris Rock?" In case shit happens, but you don't know. Like, they tell you you're okay, you pass, and then it's like, oh well, you didn't have this, and if you read on section 17, it says that this here, and you're like, what? You didn't tell me that, right? So it's
yeah,
like, yeah.
for sure, man. It's all about fine print and that sort of bullshit.
So where are you now, man?
We're in like this very beige
Yeah. I was
temporary.
like, this is not like it almost matches your hat though, but like I'm like, this
Yeah.
is not your color palette, man. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's like we're in this temporary house that our insurance has us up in, and it's nice because my mother-in-law lives like 2 blocks that way, and then our house is like 4 blocks that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of like right in the middle. So if we ever got to like run to the house and be like, hey, like let's go over like where the electrical is going to be placed or where the outlets are going to be, or do you want do you want this sink moved to here, whatever. We're close enough to where we can kind of be involved
That's cool.
in the rebuild process. And my wife and I we're redesigning like the
That's what I was
entire.
gonna say. Did you get some flex on that? Like maybe
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah, we get to kind of like redesign and put our stamp on everything, and we're not really doing anything with moving walls and changing the floor plan, but we are, there's some areas that we're kind of expanding a little bit and making a little bit bigger, and kind of function a little bit better for what our uses are.
yeah. Yeah, it's shit like we have for this house and we're hoping to move and but you don't realize like what you I don't know, like it's such a grown up thing to be like, man, I wish this had a different open floor plan. I wish this was here. Like shit that I was
Yeah.
just like at first I was just like, wait, you're gonna sell me a fucking house? Like, cool. Like that was all I cared about. Like, oh, you sure? Like, yeah, it's yours. Like, all right. And now I'm like, oh, if this wall wasn't here and when I'm when we're in the kitchen, like you can't see what the kids are doing, like this bunch of shit like that you don't realize.
Yeah, it's super. And one then too, depending on what your hobbies and stuff are at home, like, Jen and I, we cook a ton. So
Hmm.
we're sinking so much like time and energy into the design process for like our kitchen because we spend so much time in
Yeah.
there, and we cook like relatively like bigger elaborate things on just like, hey, it's a Thursday night, let's make whatever, let's make Korean barbecue street tacos and a slaw and this and
Sounds good,
that
dude.
and blah blah blah. So that was super super important for us. So yeah, it'll what everybody said from the get-go, even the day that it happened, because the fire chief and everybody who was there the day it happened, they're like, we hate to say this to you, but like this is going to be a complete fucking rebuild. This is like one of the worst fires we've ever seen.
You're like, thanks, bro.
And I was, and he was like, and he was like, and I know that sounds like shitty to say that. And he was like, but the positive thing is you're going to have the house of your dreams when it's all done. And when Jen and I moved in, we were like, all right, cool. We want to do this. We want to change this. We want to repaint this. And we kind of had like a 20-year plan. And now it turned into a 1-year plan. So it's it's a very trying experience mentally, emotionally, physically. But if we can sort of like power through and wade through the bullshit, like it should be
Yeah.
really, really cool. And then it's nice because then when we move back in, we can kind of, you know, spend a month, whatever, getting settled, and then we really want to start having people come out to the property and enjoying the property with us. That was always our vision for that property, was like we want to share it with people, because having 3.5 acres for 3 people is like not
It's awesome.
necessary.
It's
But if you
so
can
so awesome, yeah.
but if you can have like some parties, or like have you and the family come out for a long weekend, we got a pool, like there's
Nice,
plenty of
dude.
room for you guys to sleep. You don't have to get a hotel. Like, you're going to eat well while you're there. I always have tons of beer because of the industry I work. You really don't need anything else, man. We're going to expand our garden. We're going to be able to like eat,
Yeah.
eat
Stuff you make,
like,
right? Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
stuff you
yeah,
grow.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, for sure. That's
But
like,
yeah, I mean, I mean, I think that obviously you don't want to. It's like you never wish it, but you're, in a couple of years you'll be able to look back and say that was a good, to really enjoy it, your vision to get it kind of ramped up to speed. But I mean, it's still, yeah. As you're wearing your shirt with like fucking lightning bolts all over it right now, I'm like,
Yeah, this is from this company called Sample Surplus. It
yeah,
says it you can't see it, but it says one way trip.
yeah,
Uh and I actually reached out to that guy. Funny story. Because you think, oh, that guy should always be wearing, like, most people are thinking like, oh, you should always be wearing like Arrowhead ales or Smuggler's Coffee or stupid rad merch company shit. But it's like, it's one of those things where I feel weird about wearing those shirts all the time. So I feel like it's kind of like sucking your own dick. And like,
I'm like, am I wearing a 16-ounce camera shirt? I was like, no,
yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
And that's the thing. You should be always like promoting your brands, but I like this. I like this company's stuff because it's so unlike anything that I would do.
Right.
So I like wearing it. And he actually came out with this shirt, but he only like he didn't put it on a shirt. He only put the graphic on a pair of sweatpants. And it had like this weird like skeleton with like this geometric fire pattern behind it. And it said, "I survived the fire." And I'm like, dude. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, you don't offer it, but like, will you put this on a shirt for me? And he was like, yeah. And I kind of told him the story and he was like, yeah, for sure, I'll do it. So I've been a big fan of this company. So you can see like it says
Nice.
one-way trip. I don't know. It's fucking weird. All his shit looks like drug induced. Like, I don't know. He's some wacky guy from Virginia. So I'm like,
how can we follow him? You should give him a plug.
Yeah, go to Instagram and it's at Sample Surplus.
Sample Surplus. All right. That's
yeah. He does a bunch of weird shit. And I'm like I said, I'm a big fan of people's work that are like nothing like what I would do. And it doesn't look like graphic design, design or illustration that I would do. His shit's kind of far out there.
Yeah. So I mean, like, just we're just gonna move on from your life and traumatic experience. Like, you've been busy as hell. So I mean, you kind of have it stopped. You're putting out a ton of work. What's been up for? What have you been up to?
Yeah, man. It's weird with everything, like with the pandemic and everything. It sucks to kind of like talk like this because so many people are having a hard time like paying bills or getting steady work or staying employed, or they have reduced hours or whatever, man. Like everybody was affected last year, not only from COVID, but then it just seemed like everybody I knew like their sister got cancer, their mom passed away, their dad passed. Like what we went through with the fire was unique to us, but I think there were devastating like losses that everybody felt that were like with underneath that same umbrella of like, fuck, man, can we get a break?
Mm-hmm.
And so fast forward to like the answer to your question is, I took some time off, obviously, with everything with the fire, and I let people. The only reason I posted about that on Facebook, because I kind of keep like my private life like pretty that's kind of like my life.
Yeah.
Like my my wife's my wife. Like I don't want my daughter to grow up on Facebook like with a bunch of pictures. Like not everybody needs to see like all these like steps in our life. But I put that on Facebook because I kind of needed, I was in the thick of it, man. Like I was in the thick of like work. I had a ton of shit, a ton of projects, all like in the, so I needed to tell people like, hey, some shit just happened. And like, I might not be able to get you your sticker design for, a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. Cause I didn't have anything. Like I lost my computer. Like I lost all my shit. I didn't even have pencils to draw. So, I was kind of already behind the 8 ball with that. And then when I dove back into design last year, I played catch up, and then I just needed shit to kind of keep me like my mind occupied. So I wasn't dwelling on it. So I was just taking on every project I could. project. Anything that came my way, I would do it. And then usually every year from about September to December, there's like the floodgates open and the shit hits the fan, and everybody who you've ever talked about graphic design with in the past 15 years are like, hey man, remember that logo for that like ice cream company and Chinese food mashup I was gonna do? I'm going live with it now. So I had like this crazy like influx of work from like September to December, and I'm always kind of like used to that. And then December hit, and it like never slowed down. Stuff kept coming in, and then January, and now we're into February, and it's like I have like you can't see, but this is all notes on stuff that's like got to get done, got to get wrapped up, got to get revised, new things that got to get started. And that's why, like, I think I said on Instagram or something, like, I'm like my books are closed until May, unless like, we've had a conversation about something. Like, I'm pretty, so yeah, man. I mean, Arrowhead's packaging up a ton of beer. I got a bunch of new coffee labels that I'm working on for Smugglers. Stupid Rad is kind of like, with us diving into screen printing and all these other processes, that's kind of like a whole new animal. And Simeon's
I was gonna say,
he's the head honcho.
Simeon, dude. He's the guy. I mean, he's anytime I've ever need anything, I've recommended him to numerous people. But yeah, just Simeon, you're the shit. So
yeah, man. I mean, Simeon's the best, and he's gotten that to a point to where like I don't have to be so involved. When we want a new T-shirt or we want a new graphic or we want a new sticker, like I'll jump in. But the day-to-day like business aspect of like what he does, like that's his baby now. Like I'm hands off. I was able to, him and I and all the people that we surrounded ourselves, like we built that company up to like what it is now, and he can just sort of like run with it. And and then you throw in like all the other stuff that I do. I was explaining this to somebody the other day. What I've really tried to do is insulate myself. Long story short, like you
don't tell short stories, bro. I love you, but you don't tell short stories. That's why you don't. You're one of the longest. You're one of the longest episodes.
It's like 30 or 40 minutes. I'm like, nah, probably not.
Yeah, I was gonna, because if you look back, I think you were on the first episode, and I had it was like the file is too large, like for the upload. I was like, I gotta figure something out here. Yeah.
And then Joey had to outdo me. He was like, oh man,
Mr. Potts.
Yeah, Matt did 2 hours. I'm gonna do 2 hours and 30 minutes. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, part of that's also me. Some weeks I get like super wordy. Other weeks I don't like doing the intros and outros. So anyway, I'm sorry. You were saying you're telling that short story.
Yeah, man. So short story long. Just chugging along, man. Like I have more work. I have more work now than like I've had in a long time, and I'm super fortunate, and that's it's definitely not lost on me. And yeah, that's all you can say is like I in this position that I'm in, and like where I've insulated myself to where I can kind of just like rotate around with like these 10, 15 different companies that I have like a really cool rapport built up with across a bunch of different industries, not just like beer and liquor and mead and stuff like that. It's it's just,
are you getting in the weed? You doing some weed work too?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I am. I actually hold on. I got this. I actually got this drawing for like a graphic I'm working on for nice. Something that's not, it's not going to be anything that anybody's going to be able to acquire. Like you'll see the graphic, but the graphic is for like a sticker or a label for a thing that like you won't be able to buy. It's kind of like
packaging.
Yeah, but if you know a guy, you know a guy.
Right. All right.
Clandestine industries.
Cool. I'm down. I'm down with that. I know a guy.
Yeah,
Um,
you do know a guy.
so So yeah, I mean, and one of the great things, I mean, which I was always inspired, is even the level of detail you have. You do that all while digital. You do all the clicks and everything. But I mean, is that still part of your process? Has that been harder to keep that going with all that's going on, like all
Nah,
so many
man.
clients?
I mean, yeah, no, not really, man. It's a late it's a late the way I design is kind of like a more labor intensive process. When I
Right.
talk to other designers, they're like, that seems like way more fucking work than it's worth. And I'm like, yeah, but for a lot of people it might be, but for me that's the way like I achieve the final result that I get. Like I have
Mhm.
to work through that process of like drawing it on paper, making a photocopy, doing all the inking and like getting my hard lines and my shapes and kind of figure. I do all my problem solving in the drawing phase. People
Mhm.
are like, well, you could just Command Z and like undo it. Like that's not what I want to do though. When I'm ready to get into digital, like I want it to be digital and I want to know the blueprint. So yeah, my
Okay.
my process is the exact same. Like I said, with the fire and everything, it took me a minute because I had to like go buy fucking paper and pencils and like pens and shit. Like I had to literally buy everything to be able to like start doing what I did again. And then you gotta try and find the fucking ambition and motivation while the past like 39 years of your life were basically in ruins. You got to find the motivation to be like, hey, time to do a beer label,
You're right.
or
Let me make that skull
whatever.
again. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's time to draw that unicorn.
You draw a beautiful unicorn. Yeah, and I think that when you look, I mean, your thick lines. I think there's so much like detail and depth to it that it's just, yeah. I mean, there's always different ways to do stuff, but I think that that's kind of part of your signature. So I
It's
think
my
it's, yeah.
it's my shtick. It's my gimmick. You
I
know.
don't know if it's a gimmick. If it's a gimmick, then you're not really understanding the term gimmick very well. You're making, yeah, gimmick would be you pretending to draw and then to do it all digital. But yeah, that was dope when we met at Rheingeist. To see your sketchbook was like, I don't know. To me, that's always like a big trust thing. Like you let me to kind of poke through that, and it was super impressive to see some of the work you're doing.
Yeah, it's cool. Like it's cool that you like said that because I actually like that was like one of the things I was able. I mean, it's pretty like roached out, but
Right.
I was actually able to like the ceiling in my office obviously made a drywall. It collapsed on a bunch of stuff, but then the nice thing was the
Uh,
drywall actually like insulated
Absorb
from
some
like,
stuff.
yeah, so like now it's got like, now you can see like
It's got
everything
yeah,
like,
it's got some flavor to it though. Yeah.
yeah, it's got
That shit
some,
you'll see like when you like the Midwest Work Ethic Museum, right? It'll have like these old school, kind of eroded books. Yeah.
yeah, everything, all my shit was
I
polished
forget
at
what you're
one
drawing.
point.
You're drawing like a crow. I think I called it an eagle, or it was an eagle. I called it a
Yeah, you
crow.
did. You gave me like a big fucking complex. You're like, oh, that's a cool American Eagle. I was like, I was supposed to be a raven. I guess this drawing fucking failed. And then I was like, and it was funny too, because I was fucking with you. And I
Yeah.
could tell you kind of like almost started to feel bad because we were still in like that new friendship
Yeah.
phase. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh no, I looked at it from a weird angle and and I
Yeah.
was
Then,
like,
then,
hey,
and then I saw it come out like a couple weeks after that, and I was like,
and
oh,
you're
there
like,
it
oh
is.
yeah, no, that does look like a crow. And I was like, yeah, and don't forget about that great fucking chicken sandwich I introduced you
That was amazing, by the way.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, you're always work. I mean, you're a grinder. I mean, how do you manage like all the different? You said like this, I mean, the beautiful mind shit you got going, I guess. But like, are you keeping like a schedule book? Are you like dedicating certain hours a day, or you just somehow it works? Like,
Yeah, man. I would say I probably work 7 days a week. I don't
right,
work like full 8-hour shifts all
right, right, right,
seven
right.
days. But yeah, I mean, we wake up, I take care of the baby, we bring her off to preschool, and then come back here and I guess I try to like manage expectations because obviously Arrowhead takes like I've stuff for Arrowhead that I have to do every day. Because I manage a lot of the social media for Arrowhead. I manage our Instagram, I manage our Facebook. So
Okay.
I kind of have to stay up to date with all that stuff. And then once I get that stuff done for the day, and then I work ahead on some Arrowhead stuff, you know, an hour or two before we're gonna go get the baby, like I'll click around on like a different project and then come home, have dinner, do the whole nighttime family routine. And then while my wife and I are watching TV at night, sort of like winding down, like I'll be sitting at like the table, drawing, or I'll have like a clipboard on my lap and I'll be inking something. I'm at a point right now where I can never really have like just downtime just to have downtime. I kind of always got to be like sketching this, inking that, or upstairs here in this little hallway that I'm in, like doing actual like finished design. And I usually try and tell people like, all right, I'll get this drawing to you by this time, and then you give me a thumbs up on that drawing. Give me about, depending on the project, give me a week or give me 2 weeks or give me a month and to develop everything for you. So yeah, it's a very sort of like chaotic juggling thing, but right now it's working. And I have a tendency to not take on more than I can handle. A, B, I feel like I work better under like the looming pressure of deadlines. I think better that way, so I can visually problem solve better. And then also too, what I try and do is I always try to, I think the best rule of thumb is under promise and then over deliver.
That's
So
what I
if I
was
tell
thinking.
so if I tell somebody like, hey, I'm going to have it to you in 2 weeks, if I turn and burn and I really get it to them in like a week, and then I get them like kind of like a couple more variations more than I said I was going to give them, I feel like that goes a long way.
Yeah, because I think sometimes you think, oh, yeah, yeah, but it's better to, yeah. I always think that's important because if you come in early, then it's like, okay, then it's a whole new narrative, and
Yeah.
you get to do it versus like, okay, I need another week when they're expecting it. But now, have you, we're visual here. When we met, you've got nice and slim and trim. What's the secret to your, you lost a couple lbs there and you're looking good, dude.
Thanks, man. I mean, fucking stress and depression and
Oh, good.
anxiety.
All right.
I mean, that's like a big portion of it. And then
You still able to get? I mean, with all the shit going on, I know you kind of turned into like a gym rat for a period. Like, is that still part of your routine, or is it
yeah,
harder
I
now?
go to the gym. I go to the gym 4 days a week for about an hour and a half.
Mhm.
And then I drastically kind of changed like my eating habits. Um, I just cut I cut back on a lot of bullshit. I honestly, man, I even, given like the industry that I'm in, like I don't even really drink a whole lot, man. After Lunchbox passed away, like I kind of like lost the taste for booze. Um, it just, and I don't know, I heard something a while ago. It says like every 7 years, like your taste palette change and like your cells like shed themselves, and like you kind of like, so like it's like one of those things, like if you ate ketchup when you were a little kid, by the time you're in your 30s, you're like, ketchup's fucking disgusting and stuff like that. So I it's kind of like along that theory. So yeah,
Okay.
there's like a lot of stuff that like I don't enjoy the taste of. Like my wife and I, we went and got something to eat a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, I really want like chicken wings and a Sam Adams Boston Lager. Like that's
Hmm.
just what sounded good. And I got chicken wings and like an ice cold Boston Lager, and it was great. But I mean, that was the one I had. Like it scratched that itch.
Right.
Um, but yeah, for the most part, man, I mean, I cut out booze. Not that I'm against it. Like once summertime comes around, and if we're by the pool or whatever, it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh no, I'm just having 2% milk, no alcohol for me, sir. Um, but like between that, going to the gym, going to the gym 4 days a week, and then yeah, changing eating habits. Like I know when I sleep at night, like I know if I'm starting to like gain weight. Like I sleep differently, and like butter starts coming out of my neck, like seeping through my pores.
Oh yeah, I do miss the gym. That's the only thing. That's probably the one thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's just it's. I didn't feel like it was like the most hygienic place to begin with, and so I don't know. But
Yeah, they're like I kind of follow like a routine. Like I walk in with like a hood up, a hat, like a beanie on, like a mask on. I drop my shit off in like my little cubby. And the gym I go to is like really, really small because where I live is like a pretty small town.
hmm
So there's like just not a lot of people. And then I figured out a time to where I can go there and there's like only like two or three other people.
yeah,
And then I wipe down the machine before I get on it. And then I wipe down the machine after I get, whatever machines I'm working on, wipe them down before I get on, after I get off, and then I grab my shit and I walk out.
yeah.
So it's like I really, really like limit the exposure. And then I'm also on like a pretty like crazy regimen of like vitamins, supplements, pro and prebiotics, and just a bunch of shit to like ramp up my immune system.
hmm
And then a shit ton of juice, man. Like right towards the end of the year, we bought a new juicer, and I drink like a shit ton of like juice that I make fresh. So which
That's awesome.
sounds like some hippie white woman shit. Like, hey, like, wanna?
Right? Yeah. If it was like if they didn't see all your tests and stuff, they're like, oh, you've got a yogi master on today.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I feel like I should be like recruiting you to my essential oil pyramid
Right,
scheme.
yeah, dude. Right, right. You're telling me you're gonna make me juices, you're gonna make all this organic food and come live on you're kind of getting into like a commune slash cult, you
Kind
know.
of getting a little culty. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
Hey, I got 3.5 acres. You can like live here and you'll be free. And I'm like,
yeah,
wait a second. Yeah.
hey, come on, we'll change our name to Earthchild and Moonbeam.
Right. Oh, yeah, we got our cats. They were like, I got my wife's cat had like a 20-year-old cat when we were dating, and like it ran away to like die. It was like really sad. And so I went to I went to like a shelter pop-up thing like to adopt these cats, and they're like, oh, the cats already have names. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. It was like Star, and it was one of them was Star. I think the other one was Moonbeam. Like it might have been that. One was definitely Star, but and they also like, and I called to adopt it. They hung up on me. They're like, "Were you gonna get the cat to Claude?" And I was like, "Yeah, immediately." And they're like, "Click." And I
Yeah,
called back, and I was like, "How would you feel if we cut off your fingers at your knuckles?" And I was like, "Is this still the cat place? Like, what's going on here?" And so I was like, I never like bought or owned a cat. I'm like, you just tell me that it's a terrible thing." And they're like, oh, "Okay." And so then yeah, that makes sense. Those cats peel over all my stuff. Like they hate me. They're still alive and they hate me like
yeah.
to death.
They
They
knew,
probably
they
heard.
knew, they knew
They
what you
heard.
were gonna do.
They were on the conference line. Oh yeah, like you could lay out clothes all across the house. They would like they'd find mine and like pee on it and then like look at me while they're doing it. Like, what's up, bro?
Yeah,
But yeah, like
yeah.
oh the cat's names are Star. I was like okay, like I'm like they're good. They're gonna
I
be good.
wonder if I wonder if the shelter. I wonder if they were like big Zappa fans.
I don't know, but like I was like, I'm naming this one Zelda, and my wife named the other one Coco. I'm like, that's what their names are. Like, all right, brother. So what can we expect? What's the next in your world domination plan?
um, I'm probably gonna start doing like some TED talks on like self medicating.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it just like how to just there's a couple strains that I've discovered
Yeah,
it'll take it Saturn,
nice.
and then you'll
Indica,
just
sativa. What do you got? What are you thinking?
I like indica because it's slang for into couch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I like
I
to
I do not like that. It puts me to sleep because I don't stop, and then when I take that,
when that's the only time I smoke is at night. Like I don't smoke during the day. Like I can get up, have coffee, eat, go to the gym, come back home. I like to almost feel like I've earned it, and I have to shut my brain off at night. So like that's the whole reason like
yeah.
why I
Now,
smoke is just like I have to.
hypothetically speaking, and I can't. They say that because it's stored in your fat cells when you work out really hard. That's some of that hype that you're getting is it's like your body's kind of getting a little bit of a buzz. The THC because THC stores your fat cells, and so when you're working hard at the gym,
Yeah.
you burn that off a little bit. It gets in there.
Okay. I can be down. I can be down with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, in all
Hypothetically.
hypothetically, because
I'm not sure.
you're in
Now, Connecticut. We're Connecticut.
you're in Pistol Waving, New Haven, and I'm in
No,
Ohio.
Yeah, we'll be the last ones. Like people drive through us to get to Massachusetts all the time. So
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't really know what's going to be coming up. I mean, I sent you that message last night talking about like the hypothetical like title for the book I want to put together. But that's just like it's a massive undertaking the way that I want to do it. So I'd probably have to like cut off doing any like I'd probably only be able to do Arrowhead work for like 6 months.
Yeah.
In order to fill the remainder of my free time with laying that book out.
Yeah, we talked about the book. Yeah, you had a few ideas. I still have. I mean, I've been doing some more research, but it's overwhelming when you really look at it.
Yeah.
Like every level of detail. Just not even before you even get the content, like paper and size and yeah, just like how do you do it? Yeah, it's just like there's a thousand little things that you can like get lost in.
Well, and then like layout. So like, you know, a lot of, and this might be able to help you out a little bit, just you kind of wrapping your head around something. But there was a place I found that you could get a sample pack of all these different papers and all these different sizes of pamphlets and books.
Mm-hmm.
And most labels I think are like 8 inches wide by anywhere between like 3 and 5 inches tall. So if you had your book like laid out like that, like horizontally, you could almost have like every label full size, full page, and then still have some room underneath to be able to put like brewery, year, type
Mm-hmm.
of beer. And then if you could have like the way I want to do it is I want to have notes about like the process of like how that label came to be. Like, oh, originally like the brewer named it this and I came up with this idea, and then almost having like an editor's notes sort of thing. And then what I thought was going to be really, really cool is in the corner, like underneath all of that, I wanted to have like a little speaker icon. And then I wanted to have an artist and a song.
Okay.
To know that, like, because there's a lot of stuff where I look at, I'm like, oh, I know what I was like listening to when I was like doing this label. And so I've been consciously trying to like make notes on like sketches for other beer labels to be like, hey, I almost want to have like a super eclectic soundtrack from beginning to end. Yeah. Like, so as you go from label to label, not only do you go on like this visual journey, but you could also go on like this musical journey as well.
I like that. Yeah, I thought about doing like, it's kind of funny. They're coming back QR codes, but like on the pages, and then it would go to like have a site that was like the artist, like make it a multimedia thing. So it could still be like a coffee table book. But then if you really wanted to get into it, you could hear the episode or hear whatever. Yeah. So
Yeah, and then I thought it would be like if you ever did another exhibition again, or you did like a book release, or you did like a whole
oh yeah,
big.
that's what I love to do. Is just that would be take 2 weeks off and just drive around to the breweries and do just pop up book signings, man.
Yeah. Do almost like a 2-week book tour. That would be like something super fun. And then if you do let's say the final one ends up in whatever, Connecticut or Chicago or wherever, then what you do is you do that pop-up, and then you do it like how they used to have in old record stores, where you could listen to an album before you bought it, and you could listen to you could have headphone stations.
I remember that. Wow, I feel old, dude. Yeah, Sam Goody going oh, I really like track 6. I'm gonna buy this album.
Yeah, I want to. You know what? I want to listen to this entire Hanson record before I buy it, because I don't know. Right. If I like these guys,
the fact of putting it on my head, you should buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sir, you've been on that station for 45 minutes. You got to share. I'm all right, cool.
Be hey, you shut your mouth, lady. I want to listen to the new Down record, and I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'm trying to rip this onto my cassette tape. This is all I got for you. Yeah.
I'm trying to rip this on my laser disc.
Yeah, right. Well, brother, I always, if anything I can do to help, I'm always here. I think the world of you. I think you're just, I'm really happy how busy you are, and the work you make is unique and creative, and it's got an edge. It's very fitting that it's your work, and so I'm just excited for whatever's next. And if I can help in any way, but you believed in the project early on, and we're really passionate and been a big supporter for years now. So thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's it's tough because I live a lot in my head. I live a lot in my head, and a lot of
you've let me a little bit, man. I appreciate that.
And it's cool, man, because I'm a firm believer in that, that sort of that, like I said earlier about insulating myself, and that rising tides raise all ships sort of mentality. So I'm hoping that hopefully the world starts to get back at least to somewhat normal, and we can me and you and all the people that we've talked to and all the people that we're surrounded by that are just incredible at what they do. Hopefully we can all start making these projects come to fruition, because we'll
do Midwest Fest. We'll do Midwest Fest on the grounds. Get everybody to come to the house. We'll do a little thing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, because behind the scenes, in text message and chat, you and I have kicked around a ton of ideas, and it'd be nice to be able to start bringing this stuff to fruition, because like I said on Instagram, I've had 40 revolutions around the sun. If I'm lucky, hopefully I get another 40 more. But you want to start really start solidifying, I guess you could say, air quotes, your legacy or whatever.
That's why the book is important to me. I think I love the podcast, but I can't see myself. I don't know if I have another 5 years of podcast in me, but let's get through today.
Yeah, get some tactile stuff made.
It's something I can look back and be dude, that was great, because then you get it. But all right, brother, we'll do this again soon.
Sounds good. And then we can just talk about how everybody should quit doing beer labels, because Sam Heimer's the fucking best at it.
Fuck 2020, right? That's the best. Yeah. I can't believe it got approved. I mean, that whole thing to me is amazing.
Yeah, dude, that guy got approved. That guy's ridiculous. He's just and it's great because he talked about how he'd been wanting to do beer labels for 12 years. And finally somebody was like, hey man, you want to do a beer label? And now he's just off to the races, dude.
Yeah, he's all in. Maybe we should do one of these in the future and just have it be like the whole Brady Bunch tiles and just all the artists. That'd be dope. I think that'd be kind of fun. Maybe yeah. See, new idea just came up. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. We could do a curated six people, like Joey could handpick 6 people, or Sam, or whoever. That'd be fun, man.
Yeah, I'll be in the middle. I'll be the who's the housekeeper in Brady Bunch?
Alice.
Yeah, I'll be Alice. Yeah, I'll be the Allison bunch.
I'm looking forward to you and I hanging out in 3D in real time.
We'll do it soon, man.
Let's go out to the desert. Let's go out to the desert and eat peyote.
Yeah, maybe not, but I'll get back to you. All right, brother.
All right, man.
Much love, dude. Talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you too.